Good day, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this webinar on ISS National Lab Research Announcement, or NLRA 2023-6, focused on in-space production applications in the areas of advanced materials and manufacturing. I'm Patrick O'Neill, Public Affairs and Outreach Lead for the ISS National Laboratory, and I'll be one of your hosts for today's webinar. If you have any questions, please enter them into the questions dialog box. We will have time at the end of this webinar to address some of those questions. If we do not get to your question today, we will post a full list of questions and answers when we put the video on our website, which might answer a question on your end. Yes, this webinar is being recorded and will be published on our site. The Center for the Advancement of Science in Space, or CASIS, is the manager for the ISS National Lab and has served as such since 2011 through a cooperative agreement with NASA. In fact, last year, NASA extended this cooperative agreement for CASIS to manage the ISS National Lab through 2027. The ISS National Lab is responsible for up to 50% of the resources available to the U.S. on the ISS. Each year, the ISS National Lab puts forth a variety of research announcements focused on targeted areas, soliciting project concepts from researchers, companies, innovators, and educators alike. The purpose of ISS National Lab research announcements is to enable greater access to the unique platform in low Earth orbit, to bring scientific value back to people on Earth, build commerce in space, and to inspire the next generation of researchers and explorers. And with that, and for the purposes of this webinar and research announcement, I'd like to bring into the conversation Rose Hernandez, Science Program Director for In-Space Production Applications for the ISS National Lab. Rose, at a high level, can you talk about the role of in-space production applications in the mission for the ISS National Lab?
We do work in space to take advantage of the unique conditions available on the International Space Station, the extreme environment, the vantage point, and sustained microgravity. Researchers can utilize platforms on the exterior of the ISS to expose materials to the vacuum of space, extreme temperature variations, radiation, and microparticle impacts. As the ISS orbits the Earth, it provides a vantage point to view 90% of the world's populated areas, and it is a human-tended satellite that enables crew to modify when and where they record images in real time. However, the most relevant attribute of the space station for this announcement is the availability of sustained microgravity, which alters many observable phenomena within the physical and life sciences. This not only opens the possibility of studying and understanding never-seen-before isolated phenomena, but also allows us to research, develop, and produce unique materials with unique properties and hence unique products. For in-space production applications, the ISS National Lab hopes to establish a market of products and/or services that can only be produced in low Earth orbit, or whose superior properties can only be achieved in LEO. This means enabling companies and partners to leverage the space station to create a LEO market of advanced technologies and benefits to humans on Earth.
Thanks, Rose. So while this research announcement appears pretty focused on furthering a product or material, are all NLRAs expected to deliver a product? Or is there some diversity in the expectations of researchers when they are applying to respective announcements?
That's a good question. There are numerous pathways to working with the ISS National Lab, including sponsor programs, other NLRAs throughout the year, and resource requests. But for this research announcement, it is your technology maturation is at a medium to high level and is relevant to space productions. Then today's solicitation is right for you.
So how can applicants best communicate how their proposed project could mature to support the development of a space economy?
Well, we encourage applicants to read the full research announcement and reach out to us if they have questions about whether their concept is within scope or in this particular funding opportunity. All documents related to this proposal are on our website. Please note that the documents refer to the applicant as the offeror. In this presentation, we will use the term applicant to keep things simple. In general, proposals must discuss how the project could produce technologies and/or services only attainable in the LEO environment. Proposals should address how the concept could grow new business and capital investment, and ultimately return long-term value to continue access to the space environment. For this second point, we encourage applicants to connect with business subject matter experts in their organization to help them develop a business plan and justification. Proposals should also specify how the applicant would utilize the ISS through this opportunity to mature their process and/or validate production capabilities. The goal for this NLRA is to mature and validate projects so that they will be ready for scale-up as we see more and more commercial platforms.
Okay, so now we know how to go to the website and download the 2023-6 NLRA documents for more information. But how do investigators know if their technology is ready for this NLRA? Are there guidelines to look at?
Well, let's look at the diagram of the technology product cycle. The blue line represents our Earth product. The first stage is the product introduction, and then growth and maturity, and eventually a decline that is caused by either the introduction of a new technology or the existing technology no longer meets the needs of the market. We would like to encourage our audience to think of existing or new technologies within your product pipelines that could be advanced in the microgravity environment and deliver superior performance. This product would follow the path of the red line, signifying the potential for market growth is beyond what it can be achieved on Earth. There are many investigators that do not realize that there are great opportunities for advancement in microgravity that are already sitting in their technology pipelines. Technology readiness level is one of the best guides to understand whether your technology is ready for this research announcement. For in-space production applications, we expect the TRL to be advanced from 4 to 6 or above. In other words, your technologies need to have been validated in a laboratory environment, and the proposed concept for this research announcement will enable that technology to be demonstrated in the microgravity environment. This year, we're introducing the Manufacturing Readiness Level, or MRL. The purpose of introducing this manufacturing readiness level is to help investigators keep manufacturing capabilities in mind during the development process. Ideally, at the end of the project, the MRL would have been raised from 1 to 4. In other words, the proposed project would demonstrate the capability to produce the technology in the space environment. While there will be final reporting requirements regarding MRL, the proposal will not be evaluated based on MRL.
Thanks so much for that overview. Now let's get into the details for this current research announcement. Can you tell us a little more about the NLRA, the topics it covers, and the solicitation timeline?
Absolutely. For this solicitation, we're looking at 4 priority areas. First, we're looking for projects that focus on advanced industrial materials such as those used on high-throughput sensors, optics, sustainable material technologies, energy storage, and many other high-value propositions. The second priority area is advanced materials for use in medical technologies and devices. These are products such as platforms for the prevention, detection, or treatment of human diseases. This might include therapies for cancer treatment or vascular diseases, among many others. The third priority area is advanced materials for semiconductors and microelectronics. This is a new introduction to this solicitation. We're seeking proposals on high-value materials, nanomaterials, and fabrication methods for use in the development of memory and logic devices, as well as quantum technologies. The fourth and final priority area is advanced manufacturing methods that are applicable to the previously proposed technology areas. These are things such as automation, robotics, computing, additive manufacturing or 3D self-assembly, and process sensing and characterization. Examples include additive manufacturing to develop artificial scaffolding for medical applications, or products that might lead to the development of microelectronic fabrication methods in microgravity.
It's a brave new world out there for researchers. I suppose a question that someone who might ask that is new to space could be, can we really develop all these types of technologies in space?
Well, the short answer is yes. There are examples of materials that have been developed and studied in the ISS environment with applications such as radiation and chemical sensors, photonics, and long-term power storage. Other materials studied include structural nanocomposites, alloys, and liquid crystal behavior. Details of the examples in this presentation can be found in the available resources list at the end of this presentation. Materials for biomedical technologies have been studied in the ISS environment and continue to be an area of interest due to the unique effects of microgravity that can yield artificial materials with physiological performance. Therapeutics and drug delivery systems are some examples of nanotechnologies with great potential as biomedical technologies. Examples like protein crystallization and nanoparticle encapsulation are some of the advanced nanotechnologies that result in unique properties and structures never seen on Earth. Other examples are biomedical materials such as artificial scaffolds, 3D printed artificial hearts and valves and stents, and the development of biopolymer matrices. The priority area of semiconductor and microelectronics is of great interest to the stability of our nation. In the microgravity environment, weightlessness and the reduction in sedimentation have great impact on typical semiconductor fabrication methods. The ISS provides an environment where the properties of polymer systems can be enhanced, thin films can be made pristine, and an ultra-high vacuum environment can be achieved much easier than on Earth. Some examples of research on the ISS with applications in microelectronics include novel electronic materials, nanoparticle and molecular electronics, flexible electronics, detectors, and energy storage, to name a few. As for advanced manufacturing, innovate around the manufacturing needs of your technology. There are several advanced manufacturing methods that can be applied to the priority areas listed. Research on the ISS has included the development of novel additive manufacturing facilities to produce polymers, metals, tissues, and cells. Autonomous systems are of the heart of any major advanced manufacturing facility on Earth and will also be required in space. Robots that follow commands, travel to other areas of the station or outside of the station and dock when necessary can be utilized in the manufacturing process. For in-space production applications to be realized, sustainable manufacturing practices and smart manufacturing practices should be followed.
That's an outstanding setup for this research announcement. So who is this particular NRA aimed at?
This research announcement is open to research institutions, universities, companies, and anybody who owns technology that can be advanced in the space environment. We want investigators that understand their technology's markets, potential, and ideally team up with subject matter experts in their areas that assess its impact to the low Earth orbit economy.
So this research announcement opened on February 13th, and Step 1 concept summaries must be submitted by April 5th, 2023. So what kind of submissions are we talking about? Can you tell us a little bit more about the process and the timeline?
This is a good time to discuss important dates. This NLRA was released on February 13, 2023, and follows a two-step submission process. Step 1 is the concept summary, a short document in which you describe your project at a high level. Your Step 1 must be submitted no later than April 5, 2023. Concept summaries will be reviewed by our internal review team. We will then invite applicants whose concept summaries pass this initial review to submit a full proposal. That's Step 2. Full proposals submitted in Step 2 are by invitation only and will be due on June 19, 2023. Applicants must use the concept summary template found on our website. Most likely, this will be our first view of an applicant's proposed work. Therefore, it is important for applicants to include certain details in their concept summary, such as the hypothesis, the metrics the applicant will use to measure success, why the ISS is necessary for your research goals, and how the experiment will work operationally. Specifically for these in-space production applications NLRA, it is important to include other details pertaining to the technology and market. You should connect with an implementation partner during Step 1 preparation. Implementation partners are organizations that have expertise in translating your proposed work for the ISS environment. There's additional information about implementation partners as well as available hardware on station in the solicitation documents and on our website. Now is a good time to note that the PIs and co-PIs of your submission must be a U.S. persons and their sponsoring organizations or company must be a U.S. entity. Applicants that have any questions about Step 1, please reach out to us. I am the lead contact for this NLRA, and you can use the email listed here for any specific questions related to the project concept.
So concept summaries will be reviewed, and those that are approved to move on will be invited to submit a full proposal.
Yes, cases will select concepts to submit full proposal in Step 2. For this NLRA, full proposals will be due June 19, 2023. The process for developing full proposals is outlined in detail in our NLRA website. Full proposals will undergo external scientific peer review by subject matter experts. They will again be evaluated based on operational feasibility, economic benefit, and benefit to Earth. Then recommended proposals will be reviewed at a final determination stage and selected by the case's Chief Executive Officer. We encourage applicants to reach out to our operations team with any questions about available hardware or working with an implementation partner. Additionally, we strongly suggest including letters of commitment from any investors or associated companies that demonstrate commercial interest when applicable.
I think this is a critical portion for us to discuss further, again, especially for those new to space viewers. So when you say implementation partner, can you describe that in more detail? It sounds like connecting to an implementation partner is imperative for this or any research announcement, right?
Yes, applicants must identify and select an implementation partner, and the earlier in the proposal lifecycle, the better. We can help in the implementation partner identification process. It is critical that applicants obtain a statement of work and budget from their selected implementation partner, and that both be included in the appendix of the proposal package. In the solicitation documents, applicants will find a rubric outlining how the proposals will be evaluated. This is the rubric that we ask our external reviewers to use when evaluating proposals, so it is a great guide to follow when preparing proposals. In space production application, proposals are evaluated based on 4 major factors: scientific and technical merit, shown in purple in the figure, implementation feasibility, and operations and ISS utilization, both shown in orange, and business and economic impact, shown in green. Details on the evaluation methodology can be found in the proposal evaluator instructions for this NLRA, which is one of the documents contained in the zip file available for download from the solicitation webpage. Funding for this research announcement is $1 million, with the anticipation of making 3 awards. CASE's funding for this NLRA is allocated to support mission integration and operation costs, as well as project development costs. The performance period for any project should be no longer than 3 years from the date of the award. While matching funds are not a requirement, proposals that contain matching funds might be looked on more favorably.
For those ready to download the documents and begin working on their concept summary, it's all on the NLRA page. Any tips for applicants?
This is a great list of some of the many available resources for research applicants. There's a presentation about ISS lessons learned, a quick start guide to payload design. Here's the link to the implementation partner database that we mentioned earlier. And lastly, a link to the Space Station Research Explorer webpage on the nasa.gov, a helpful resource on projects that have flown to the ISS.
We appreciate the time and effort these proposals take, and we want to provide a few tips and pointers to help in writing a successful proposal.
Absolutely. As you prepare your proposal for submission to the ISS National Lab research announcement, we recommend you keep in mind a few tips that we hope you find beneficial. Use available resources. Take advantage of the resources we just covered. Connect with an implementation partner. Consider the resources and support requirements for proper execution, the time required to operate the experiment, and the overall duration of the experiment in space to meet each of your defined science requirements. Address the evaluation criteria when writing your proposal. On average, proposals that use the outline and addresses the specific questions in each point have scored higher overall. Submit a compliant proposal. Ensure that the submitted proposal is compliant and within scope. Make sure the requisite forms and appendices are included in the proposal submission. I will add a 5th tip here. For in-space production applications, it is important to describe the market and the potential for your product, service, or product improvements, and also identify the customer in general, or even better, specific customers. Following all of these proposal preparation tips will make your proposal stronger.
Those are great preparation tips and should yield some fantastic Step 1 concept submissions. Be sure to check out the applicant resources for ISS National Lab research opportunities in the sidebar of the 2023-6 NLRA page. There, you'll find helpful information on the applicant process and the overall schedule. Rose, do you want to give us one last review on the overall schedule?
Definitely. This chart provides an overview of the submission, review, and selection schedule for this specific opportunity and a few others. We are now accepting Step 1, concept summaries for an NLRA in Advanced Materials and Manufacturing, and these are due by April 5th, 2023. Step 2, Full proposals are due June 19, 2023.
To our audience, remember that the goal of ISS National Lab activities is to bring value and impact back to the U.S. economy and taxpayers by benefiting life here on Earth. Rose, it's been a pleasure talking with you today.
The pleasure is mine. And thank you all for joining us as we review Research Opportunity 2023-6 on in-space production applications. Now we will be taking questions from webinar attendees. Several ISS National Lab staff members are here and ready to answer any questions you might have. And we'll be posting frequently asked questions on the NLRA page, so please check back for those answers. Do we have any questions?